Hello students, I hope you are enjoying this MySQL journey so far. We have already covered part 1, part 2, part 3 in our previous videos, and this is our part 4. And in this part 4 we are going to see the create command and what are the different kind of constraints that we have in our MySQL. Okay, create table. In order to create a table, the create table command is used. So in order to create a table, you need to use create table command. In the create table command, each field of the table is defined within the three attributes. So these are the three attributes that define the create table. One is the name of the field, another is the data type of the field, and another is the size of the field. Okay, so each of the field will have a name. So your field will have a name, your field will have a data type. Data type can be integer, float, varchar, everything. Okay, and size of the field, what is the size of that field to store the data. Each table field definition is separated by a comma. So each of the field will have, say if you are having a student table, then you will have a student roll number, comma, then you will have your student class. Okay, student first name, last name. So that is what it is telling. Each field definition is separated by a comma, and a MySQL statement is terminated with a semicolon. At the end you need to use this kind of semicolon. So when you use this semicolon, that means this statement is valid, otherwise it is invalid. The syntax of the create command is, so this is the syntax. It is provided for creating the table in the MySQL. The column, you can check this like create table. If it doesn't exist, you can specify the size, primary key, not null, null. Okay, and then you have the similar kind of story here. So this is one field, this is another field, and this is the create table command. Okay, the column name specifies the name of the column. Each column name has a data type and a size. So each of the column name will have a data type. Data type means each of the column name will have data type like integer, or it can be float, it can be varchar, anything. Okay, and it will have a size. The not null or null indicates the column accepts null values or not. So if you use not null, that means that column cannot have a null value. Okay, primary key indicates that the particular columns are set as primary key. Primary key are basically unique identifier in a table. We'll see in our later classes as well. Okay, let's move on to the next part, which is constraints. Constraints are some rules that help ensure the validity of a data while entering data in a table. The constraints in MySQL are primary key, not null, foreign key, unique, enum, and set. Okay, what do you mean by constraint? You can think constraint is a particular rule. Like, say when you are going to school, you have certain rule, right? That you need to enter your classes at 10 a.m. and your school will get off at like 3 p.m. So that is a kind of rule, right? So similarly in the database, you have certain constraints. That means these are particular rules for entering the data into the table in your database. Okay, so these constraints are defined by this primary key, not null, foreign key, unique, enum, and set. Okay, uh, and if you see here, it is written like not null. So what specifically not null will do? This constraint tell us that we cannot store a null value in a column. That is, if a column is specified as not null, then we will not be able to store null in this particular column anymore. So for example, you are creating a table, okay, and then you are creating a field or a column in your table, student table, uh, say class. Okay, now each of the students will have a class, right? But how do you enforce a user that whenever someone is create entering a student in the database, that column should not be a null value. Okay, so if we specify not null against that class column, then User need to forcefully enter that value, otherwise it will not be entered into the database. So this is like kind of a constraint that we have, that we define that rule that the class for the student should not be any null. Okay, then we have primary key. Primary key is a field which can uniquely identify each row in a table, and this constraint is used to specify a field in a table as a primary key. So primary key are like the unique identifier in a table. So the primary key for the student table can be his roll number. So roll number is unique for each student, right? So that is the kind of rule. So these are like the constraints. You have the constraints as a primary key in your SQL, then not null, foreign key, unique, enum, and set. Okay. Now if you see here, this is one table. This is the part that I picked up from your textbook as well, because I find this explanation very worth sharing. Now if you see, this is a student table which is a column name, roll number, name, class, section, date of admission, and total mark. You wanted to create this kind of table in your database. Okay, then you have a data type. Roll number can be needs to be integer, then name can be virtual, and then your class since it is 1 2 3 4, so it can be integer. Section, you have a character, date of admission is date, and then total marks is int. Now if you see here, this is the different sizes that you have put. So see, if you have not specified any size, it will take to the default one. Okay, but if you put here like 20 size, it can only be 20. It can be 20 or it can be below 20, or it cannot be more than 20. Okay, so these are the size definition for each of the columns in your database. And then these are the constraint. We have made roll number as a primary key. That means roll number would be unique in this table for each student. Then you have the name. Name cannot be null. So if you try to enter a name with a null value, with empty value, then this will give you an error. Date of admission, it is not null, total marks is not null. And then if you see here, this is how your command got written finally. You have create, then you have table, then you have your table name, then you have this bracket. Under this bracket you have written like roll number initially, then it is int, then you have defined the constraint primary key. Now in the second, if you see, you have defined the column name, you have the data type which is virtual, then you have the size, and then it's not null. Similarly for class, section, date of admission, and total marks. So this is how you create a table in your database using MySQL. I hope you guys have understood the lesson. If you are having any doubt, you can always reach out to me in the WhatsApp channel, and we'll see you in the next classes. Thank you so much for your patience listening.